Good evening, or in my case, it is good morning. As you can see, the sun is shining brightly behind me. Your host, Afakasi Raider. To my right, you got your boy, Ont6 Soldier. Unfortunately, the sun ain't shining too bright at the moment when it comes to Raider football. Ain't that right, Ont6?
That's totally correct, but it is what it is, bro. We're trying to make the best of it over here, but it's kind of hard to do it, but it is what it is, brother.
And shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Raider Pete, El Capitan Rafucho, that's my guy, Robert, and who else did I see? Jerry Fuentes, my man. I saw most of you in my previous stream doing I don't know if did you see that yet? The one where I was doing some bartering on the street, buying some Raider gear and some LA gears.
I did, brother. It was pretty interesting seeing the world from a different perspective and shit, especially from the other side of the world. But it was pretty cool. It's interesting to see, man. Hopefully, I'll get to experience that one day.
Right, for sure. Hopefully one day. And just for clarity, chat, when I was talking in hundreds, I'm talking in hundreds of thousands. So what I end up paying for most of those cap was roughly about 15,000 rupee was one USD. So about $6, $7 is USD was how much I paid for each of those caps. So just a bit of clarity there for the chat. But hope you guys had fun. I might do another part two, but we'll get back to Raider football for now and the game that was just transpired yesterday. We went down to our division rivals, 29-19. So we were playing in Las Vegas. We hung in there for the most part. I mean, they're a team that seems to be doing quite well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Bo Nix is playing reasonably well as well. And we hung in there, but we just couldn't get the job done yet again, going down 29-19. Is there any positives you want to start off with first before we get on to the things we didn't like?
I mean, the positives that I do want to shout out, just our center again, Jackson Powers Johnson. Another great game by him, and it just amazes me. And it just flabbergasts me now I'm thinking about it. Why didn't he start the season out starting center and shit? You know what I mean? It just goes to wildly just think what this off the line could have came together a lot more. But the other thing that was pretty good, just the special teams. You know what I mean? AJ Cole. You know what I mean with that pass and shit. You know what I mean? It looks like he should be our starting quarterback heading into next week. But him and Dabler with that catch too. So that was pretty little good mention in the game.
Right, I agree with that one. I made the comment in our group chat that like the guy who is our actual special teams coordinator had to take a leave of absence for whatever reason. Hope things were okay with him, and we let the assistant special teams coordinator. I cannot remember his name. If somebody can share it in the chat, but he took over the he took over the duties for this game, and to be honest, like I wouldn't mind giving him a promotion. I mean, that's his first game for us calling special teams. We had a breakout run with Dylan Lobby from kickoff. We had a
Yeah.
successful, very creative trick play on a punt, on a fake punt. We were perfect with our field goal and our punting, and our coverage for the most part on kicking was reasonable enough. So for me, like if that's your first showing, then I'm willing to give him the duties next year if that's what we're going to see more of. I can appreciate that kind of creativity. And salute to you, Freddie Chavez. I see you in the building. Robert Pena, if I didn't say hello, my bad. My apologies, my friend. And sorry to you, Robert. I know you're in Denver country as well, aren't you? I believe he's based there, so that was up for him especially. But any other things you want to touch up on that were on the positive side of things? Oh.
I mean, there wasn't really too much positive to talk about. You know what I mean? Especially seeing Sincere in there. You know what I mean? I was expecting him to run for 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns. You know what I mean? But so much for that.
Right.
But it's just
Although
disappointing.
on like sorry to cut you off, like I'm the heaviest Sincere McCormick critique on the YouTube scene, being that like it's not so much against him, it's more so about the hype that he gets from so many different people, and he hadn't done squat. He hadn't even taken a single season snap in 3 years. he got his chance, and I'm gonna give him credit. And I like to do this whenever a player comes out and does some things, especially guys I criticize. I thought he ran for the few times he had the ball, he ran exceptionally well. I mean, he averaged over 6 yards a pop, 5 carries or 6 carries for over 30 yards. So, you know, I've been asking him to do something, and it took him 3 years, but he's done something to give me a little bit of hope that there's something there with him. You know what I mean? I'm not going to crown him like he's the next Bo Jackson like a lot of these other cats, but I can appreciate that he ran well this game. Anyways, Ont6, go ahead.
No, I agree. You know, I'm just giving those guys a hard time for that comment. But at the end of the day, you know, he did look good. And there's one player that we did not mention that you and me have put in the bathroom, have thrown away, that we're done with this guy. And that is Tyreek Wilson, the best game of his career. You know what I mean? That he had. You know what I mean? And that was a positive sign to see. So shout out to Tyree. You know what I mean? Hopefully he can continue building on this so he can become a force in this league.
Right, and he's another guy who deserves his praises again. Another guy we criticize, and I'm still critical of the pick. He hasn't come close to the production and the expectation for what you want out of a first round draft pick, especially top 10. But the last 4 weeks, he's starting to produce, so to say. Like he's done some things. He's had 3 sacks in 4 weeks, 1 forced fumble. He had a tackle for a loss this week to go alongside his sack. So, you know, I want to see more of that from Tyree, and I can appreciate he's at least showing progress. You know, I noticed that like they're utilizing him a lot in the NASCAR. I saw him playing interior as well as exterior. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that might be the way forward. That it brings out the best in Tyree, not just keeping him on the outside, but also maybe utilizing what he seems to do best, and that's what his only move so far is his, you know, bull rush. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tyree. Like he's playing better, and he's, like I said, 3 sacks in 4 weeks. I can appreciate. That's actually more than Max Crosby, but Max Crosby's still doing some things, you know, like tackles for loss and getting over the field. He just hasn't had a sack for the last couple of weeks. But anything else, Ont6?
Yeah, and the thing is too about Max Crosby, a lot of people don't realize he's still injured. He's still not 100%. So just cut that guy some slack. I know a lot of content creators were complaining about where's Max, where's Max. You know what I mean? But yeah, you think about he's getting double and triple team, he's getting chipped on every play. So and he's not 100%. So they just cut that guy some slack. You know, he's not quitting on the team or anything. He just injured and shit, guys. So they just pumped the brakes on that.
Right. For me, he's been the one consistent face of the franchise since he's been in the door. And he was what was he, a 4th-round draft pick? Was it 4th? 3rd? I can't remember. But whatever it was, to get what we got out of him being like the next best player after Charles Woodson and Khalil Mack since the turn of the millennium, like, you know, I have nothing but praise to Max Crosby, and I'm hoping he can stick around for longer, and he will find his feet again. It's just he's still playing exceptionally well. He's just not at his all stellar best, being that he's playing week in, week out hurt. But anyways, anything else Ont6?
I mean, that's all pretty much all the positives that I have.
Right, and I do agree with that. If he wants to be considered elite, but definitely needs to make big plays in key moments, though, all saying he is our best player on defense. Right. Well, that would be the comparison to say I've made this before with Khalil Mack. Why I separate Khalil Mack from Max Crosby, being that Khalil Mack made closing and finishing plays. You know what I'm saying? Not saying Max Crosby hasn't, but it definitely is noticeably been more from Max time as a Raider than Max Crosby. And salute to Carlos, I see you in the building. Appreciate you stopping by, my brother. All right, so that's about it on the positive notes, right? I mean, Jacoby Myers, and Trey Tucker were somewhat productive. They had close to 20 receptions between the two of them. Brock Bowers had a really quiet day. They shut him down quite well. I believe they're the only team so far to really find a way to shut him down. Gee, that's about it. All right, we'll go to the other side like other side of things. And salute to you, Raider Solo. I see you in the building, my guy.
What's up,
The
Solo?
negatives, what we didn't like. What we didn't like. Where do we begin?
I mean, for me, I'm just over Garner Minshew, and I don't wish no ill intent on no one, especially when they're putting their body on, on the line every game for us and shit, and they're putting on the
Right.
uniform. But him getting this broken collarbone is the best thing that happened to us, just because we're getting them off the field and we're getting AOC back in there this week. At the end of the day, I'm just tired of him making those mistakes at critical times, and it just annoys the shit out of me now. You know what I mean? We had a chance to win that game last week, and here goes Garner Minshew again throwing an interception and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it just pisses me off too, especially too when we couldn't in the offseason we could have gotten Joe Flacco or somebody else. You know what I mean? Or another different quarterback. But this is a quarterback that fucking the offensive coordinator wanted and shit to run his system and shit, and that's the sad part. And just to see the production this guy has and the money we're paying him, it's just unbelievable, and it's just one of the worst offseason signings that we had in a while.
Right. Salute to Wild Turkey. Just joined the building. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, look, I really don't want to see Gardner Minshew out there. I mean, look, I never want to see a player go down injured, and I hope he recovers well soon. But to me, that's probably the last time we're going to see him as a Raider. Like, are we really going to retain this dude next year? I don't believe so. Aiden O'Connell on the flip side seems to be coming back from injury this week, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's named the starter. Desmond Ritter struggled in his few snaps that he came in on it in the end. But yeah, look, we got to get this, whichever way we go, we got to get this quarterback situation sorted and our number one priority next off season. But we'll get to that conversation later. They targeted us in the air and pretty much were passing on us at will, which was expected. If I'm going to be honest, we were missing Nate Hobbs, Agent Zero, Jacoian Bennett, and Jack Jones is playing hurt. So we had to put out DeCamerion Richardson to play on the outside. And granted, he had some moments, but for the most part, he got cooked again and again and again. I'm not going to fully throw him under the bus, being that a rookie. Look, he took his licks. It was his trial by fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that I still see some things there with DeCam Richardson. This is a learning experience for him. But, he did get cooked. The rest of the defense, I mean, we tried our best to hang in there, but just we couldn't get it done in the secondary department, shutting them down in that passing game, and we didn't put enough pressure on. Like, we tried to dial up the blitzes in that. We were batting down some balls, but we only had one sack for the game. So, and that came from Tyree, right? Offensive side of the ball, I mean, anemic yet again. I mean, so many drives where it's just like, it took a kickoff return for a big gain for us to really kickstart something. And then, we did score some points afterwards, but for the most part, just, I don't know, man. These wide receivers just getting no separation, and the quarterback play just not good enough. Another forgettable game for the Raiders for the most part, right?
Yeah, it's just annoying and frustrating because there's so much potential for this team, and just to go see another year wasted. I felt bad for all the veterans, Max Crosby and everyone else, because they're not tanking. They're giving 110% every game. They still care. You know what I mean? It just sucks that we're that bad of a team that we can't win the game. You know what I mean? We literally have to play a perfect game just to try to win the game. We can't get no penalties. We can't beat ourselves. We have to play a perfect game just to try to win the game, and it's just unbelievable. And it just sucks because literally when we beat the Ravens, I thought we really had turned the corner and it was going to be a different season, and then it just all went downhill from there. But at the end of the day, it just goes down back to AP because he hired the offensive coordinator, and this is the guy he wanted. I know he wasn't his first option or whatever, but at the end of the day, it still goes fall back on him because he is the head coach, and this is the guy he wanted.
Right. I didn't believe coaching was too bad this game, if I'm going to be honest. I just believe that look, the Broncos are the better team, and the player personnel at the moment, we just didn't have enough to hang with the Broncos sustainably to win the game. And the turnover at such a crucial moment, which is what pretty much turned the game away from us, and we never recovered it, so to say. It's funny you say that, like how you talked about the team going down the drain after that win against it was actually the Browns. We remember we played I was talking about this with Bentha. We played the Denver Broncos. It was the game at home, the game away, playing them the week after the Browns game. And salute to you, 2 cents. Where remember we were up, I think 10-0, and we were driving down the field, and we were in their red zone, 5-6 yards out, and that was when Gardner Minshew was trying to throw to Brock Bowers and threw the pick six. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was the moment our team and the season started, just went downhill, torpedoed into a nosedive, and we haven't recovered since, right? We've lost, what has it been, 6 straight?
I think 7.
Or 7 straight.
7 straight.
Right. So that was the moment of the season where it just went. Well, anything else you want to share about the game? Otherwise, I guess we can just put them in the bathroom, right?
Yeah, we can just put them in the bathroom, dog. I think that's all we can do now. I mean, there's nothing really else to talk about this game. I mean, we're all frustrated and fed up with the season, and we're all ready for the offseason to start. So you just go to put them in the bathroom.
I got you. Just let me set everything up real quick. 1 moment, please. Doing this all on my phone, so it's quite the struggle. Yeah, all right, I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll get right to it. I'm just going to let you shoot with put them in the bathroom, because I think my go would be pretty much what you were going to say anyway. So here we go.
Jojo, stop fucking breathing on me. You're killing me over here. I'm on a fucking win streak. Stop breathing on me, huh? Bobby, put him in the bathroom.
Sonny, any mushes in there ain't gonna fit.
I don't give a fuck. Put him in. It's a lot of money. Give me another shit.
All right, Ont6. Talk to him. Who's your put him in the bathroom for this week?
This week, put them in the bathroom award winner goes to the one and only Gunnar Minshew. Again, crucial situations. Throwing interceptions, brother. It breaks my heart that your Raider career ended like that. But at the end of the day, you can't be doing that shit. You're the reason that we're struggling. You're the reason that Adams left. You're the reason we have a lot of issues with the fucking Raiders, dog. So at the end of the day, Gunnar Minshew, you can go in the fucking bathroom with my buddy Ozzy, Dustin, Cortez, all those motherfuckers in there, dog. You can go back up in there, Garner, and end your Raider career. R.I.P. to Gunnar Minshew and his Raider career.
For sure, for sure. Just going to read out this comment here by Raider Pete. Look, facts are we have lost many starters over 10 weeks, and currently without any starting corners, Jack was playing hurt. Miami and Denver took advantage, put 100% Hobbs, Jack, and Agent Zero. Yeah, no, I agree. Like why I said the player personnel just isn't good enough at the moment. We are missing so many injuries, especially like the defense was supposed to be the strength of this team. And like we've lost so many key players and a lot of them early, like Kuntz, Wilkins, Hobbs, Bennett, Marcus Epps, if you want to say him. And that's just our starters, you know what I'm saying? Like you look at the depth, there's injuries, a litany of injuries across the board there, and we just haven't had the guys to step up to be able to make up for the deficiencies on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, it is what it is. But on a positive note, there's this, if we do get it right next off season, we have the ammunition to get it right, to turn the ship, so to say. Whether we retain our coaching staff or we get rid of them, whatever. But in terms of player personnel, we're going to have a boatload of cash and a full draft class +1 so far. We might get a compensatory pick, I'm not sure, but we've got 8 draft picks as it stands. So the ammo is there to turn it around. We just have to get it right. This, to me, will be the most important offseason in a long time. Maybe since 2007, where we got it wrong with the #1 draft pick that we selected Jamarcus Russell to be the face of the franchise, and that didn't go so well. But here we are again. We may be in that range to get ourselves our franchise quarterback for the future. And if we were to go that route, there's 2 names that are earmarked specifically, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. I'm going to go over to Ont6 and let him share his thoughts on, if we are picking within that range, who would you rather go with?
I mean, me personally, a lot of you guys know I am a Miami Hurricanes fan. I actually am an alum. I used to play there back in the days. It was Nesta Severa. Shout out to Nesta, even though he was the Niners. Fuck you. But that's another story for another day. But at the end of the day, Cam Ward's the quarterback for me. He's quarterback 1. He's doing a lot with a lot less talent at Miami. Look who Shedeur Sanders has. He has the #1 Heisman contending Hunter over there throwing the ball to. He has Joe Horn's son as the second option, and he has a bunch of NFL talent over there. And Cam Ward's doing a lot less. It was 1 year at Miami just to turn that program around and have us right now with the chance to win the ACC and to possibly make the playoffs. It's just unbelievable. And at the end of the day, he put in the work on the offseason. He don't throw his team under the bus like Sanders did earlier in the season when he played Nebraska. And after the game, they asked him, so what happened? And he said, well, you tell me, did the quarterback of Nebraska get sacked? And they're like, no. Was I? And he said, yeah. And he pretty much threw his whole offensive line under the bus. And that's not the quarterback I want. You know what I mean? I want a quarterback that's going to come in here and be the first person in, the last person out. And that's Cam Ward to me. And at the end of the day, that's who I want to be my quarterback next year. Even though I will welcome Shedeur if he comes here as well, because whoever the quarterback's going to be, whoever we draft, I'm going to support him no matter what. But at the end of the day, that's who my preference is.
No, I'm right there with you. I admittedly, I don't see a lot of college football. I see bits and pieces here, but I hear those 2 are the outright, from a talent perspective and a production perspective, leading candidates to be the top 2 quarterbacks taken within the first 3 or 4 picks. And of course, Shedeur Sanders, with his relationship with Tom Brady and the kind of glitz and glamour side of the pick, being that he's a name and the legacy, he seems to be the name that's popping up a lot, that he should be the guy we take. But I'm there with you on 6. I see a lot of little things that I don't like from a character perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, throwing your teammates under the bus, and just a lot of the little things that I see him saying and doing. It just, I would feel better about Cam Ward. He seems to me like on the flip side, when I look at Cam Ward and I see some of the little things that he says and he does off the field as well, like he seems like a very high character guy, as well as being a baller on the field. So I would be right there with you. He would be my preference. But whichever guys we bring in the door, if we bring in a big if, either one of the guys, they're going to be my guy for the future, and I'm going to get behind him 110%. Hope that they can be the guy that turns this ship around. All right, guys. Is there anything else you want to go through? Otherwise, I mean, I'm pretty much all out on Raider football at the moment. It's not looking too bright, is it?
No, it's not, brother. But at the end of the day, we got 6 games left. Let's just enjoy it, because next thing you know, it's going to be the offseason. We're going to be crying for Raiders football. So let's just enjoy this game. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, let's enjoy these rookies, these second-year players, and to see the development, because some of them look pretty good. Jaquan Benjamin has taken a big jump. Terry Wilson, let's see how he looks at the end of the season. But for now, let's just see what happens, brother.
Let's see what happens indeed. Afakasi Ont6, Daniel Jones Valley, if he's available in the off season. Well, whatever. We forgot to touch up on Daniel Jones, but if he comes, he comes. If he doesn't, he doesn't. whatever. I'm not going to get too thrilled or excited about Daniel Jones. Anyone else here going to get too thrilled or excited about Daniel Jones on 6?
No, for me, he doesn't make sense. It's too late in the season. But the only reason it does make sense, if you were to sign him, you would want to give him a small contract, and at the end of the season, if he was to leave with another team, you would get a compensatory pick for him. So that would only be thing that would go. You would go from 8 picks to 9 picks. So that was the only reason that makes sense. But I just read a report from Raider Resistance, so shout out to them. If you're not following them on IG, make sure you're following them. Up to date on all the latest news. And he just reported that Daniel Jones doesn't want to play for the Raiders. He wants to play for a team that's contending for the playoffs. So that's a little shocking to me. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I ain't going to be crying over him.
Right. I ain't going to cry over anyone who's, especially when they're not Raiders. But anyways, gang, I'm going to carry on my day. You take care of yourselves. Hang on. Hang tight. Let's get through the season. And yeah, it's sit tight, gang. It's going to get worse before it gets better. All right. I'm Afakasi Raider. To my right, on 6. Take care, gang. We'll catch you on the flip side for sure. All right. Peace.